My 28-year woman and my husband is 31-year, secretly installed cameras throughout our house and has been monitoring me for months. I discovered a hidden network of surveillance, and it goes deeper than I imagined. My husband James, 31-year, and I, 28-year, have been married for 4 years, together for 7. Until recently, I would have described our marriage as stable and loving, if a bit routine. We both work in tech. I'm a UX designer, he's a cybersecurity specialist. No children yet, though we've been discussing starting a family. 2 weeks ago, I discovered something that has completely shattered my world. I was working from home on a video call with my team when my laptop crashed. I grabbed James's backup laptop from his home office, something I've done before with his permission. While looking for the charger in his desk drawer, I found a small notebook with what looked like network addresses and login credentials. Being in tech myself, I recognized these as local IP addresses. Curiosity got the better of me. I logged into our home network admin panel and discovered multiple unauthorized devices. Following the addresses led me to several live video feeds from inside our house, hidden cameras in the living room, kitchen, our bedroom, even the bathroom. The timestamp showed they'd been operational for at least 6 months. I felt physically sick. The cameras were carefully concealed, one inside a smoke detector, another behind a decorative wall clock, more in light fixtures. The feeds were being recorded and stored on a hidden server in our basement. There were even outdoor cameras I hadn't known about, tracking everyone who approached our house. What terrifies me most is the level of premeditation this required. James had to plan this, purchase equipment, install everything while I was away, and maintain this secret surveillance system for months. He's been watching me in my most private moments without my knowledge or consent. I haven't confronted him yet. I've maintained my normal routine while quietly gathering evidence. I took screenshots of the camera feeds, photographed the hardware I could find, and documented everything. I've been staying late at work to avoid being home alone with him, making excuses about a big project. Last night, I discovered something even more disturbing. Going through the stored footage, I found recordings of me on video calls with friends and family, complete with audio. He's been listening to my private conversations. There are even recordings from before the visible cameras were installed. He must have hidden microphones throughout the house first. I also found a folder of footage labeled Suspicious Activity, where he compiled clips of me doing mundane things like taking phone calls in the backyard or texting while cooking. He's been analyzing my behavior, looking for something. Signs of infidelity? Conspiracy? I don't know what he thinks he's going to find. The deeper I dig, the worse it gets. I found evidence that he's been tracking my phone's location, monitoring my internet activity, and possibly reading my emails. Our entire home network is compromised. I feel violated in ways I can barely process. I need advice on how to proceed. Part of me wants to confront him immediately and demand answers, but his behavior shows such calculated violation of trust that I'm genuinely afraid of how he might react. What if he has contingency plans? What if confronting him makes things worse? I've consulted a lawyer in secret and started documenting everything. I've opened a separate bank account and gathered important documents, but I'm struggling with next steps. Should I try to understand why he did this? Is there any coming back from this level of betrayal? How do I protect myself? Edit. Thank you all for the overwhelming response. To address some common questions. No, I've never given him any reason to suspect infidelity. He's never been overtly controlling or abusive before this. We both make good money, so financial control isn't a factor. His job involves cybersecurity, but this goes way beyond professional interest. I'm staying with a friend tonight, using a burner phone. Update 1. Things have escalated quickly since my original post. After reading your comments and speaking with my lawyer, I decided to stay with my best friend Amy while figuring out next steps. I waited until James left for work, then packed essentials and important documents. I left my regular phone at home to avoid tracking and bought a prepaid phone. I thought I was being careful, but I underestimated how closely he was monitoring everything. Within hours of leaving, he started calling and texting frantically. When I didn't respond, he began reaching out to friends and family, claiming he was worried because I wasn't answering my phone. He painted himself as the concerned husband, while I knew he could see my phone still at home on his tracking system. Then came the emails, dozens of them, oscillating between desperate pleading and thinly veiled threats. He claimed everything was a misunderstanding, and that the surveillance was for our protection. He said he installed the cameras after a series of break-ins in our neighborhood. There weren't any. He insisted he only accessed the footage when necessary for security. Lies. I found daily viewing logs. The most chilling email included screenshots of private conversations I'd had months ago, apparently recorded without my knowledge. He threatened to share evidence of my suspicious behavior with our families if I didn't come home to discuss things rationally. It was pure manipulation, trying to make me seem paranoid while simultaneously proving exactly why I had to leave. I didn't respond to any of his messages. Instead, I forwarded everything to my lawyer and filed for an emergency restraining order. The judge granted it based on the evidence of stalking and covert surveillance. James was served at work yesterday. His reaction was explosive. He sent a rambling email to our entire friend group and both families, claiming I was having a mental health crisis and had fabricated allegations against him. He painted himself as the victim, saying I had betrayed his trust by accessing his private computer. The irony is staggering. Some friends immediately saw through his manipulation and rallied to support me. Others, including his family and a few mutual friends, seemed to believe his version. They've been messaging me with concern about my mental state and urging me to work things out with James. The most surprising support came from James's former colleague, Mike. He reached out after seeing James's mass email, saying he quit their company 6 months ago because he discovered James was using company resources to spy on employees' personal devices. Mike had reported it internally but was pressured to stay quiet. He's willing to provide a statement to my lawyer. Today's development. The situation took another dark turn this morning. Emmy woke me up at 6 a.m. Someone had broken into her car during the night. Nothing was stolen, but they left an envelope on the driver's seat containing printed screenshots of my private conversations and photos of me inside her house from the past few days. The message was clear: he's still watching. The police are involved now, and I'm being moved to a secure location. My lawyer is pushing to expedite the divorce proceedings based on the escalating harassment. We're also exploring criminal charges related to illegal surveillance and stalking. I've started seeing a therapist who specializes in domestic abuse and surveillance-based trauma. She's helping me process the realization that my entire marriage was built on a foundation of control and monitoring that I never recognized. Looking back, there were subtle signs I dismissed: his insistence on managing our home network, his questions about my daily schedule, his jokes about always knowing where I was. Going through our photos from the past year, I can pinpoint exactly when the cameras must have been installed. There's a week last summer when James insisted I visit my parents while he worked on home improvements. He was so proud of the new light fixtures he installed, the same ones I now know contained hidden cameras. The level of planning makes me physically ill. Final update. It's been 2 months since my original post, and I'm finally ready to share the conclusion of this nightmare. A lot has happened, and I want to thank this community for your support and guidance through the darkest period of my life. The evidence. Working with digital forensics experts, we uncovered the full scope of James's surveillance operation. It wasn't just our house. He had installed tracking software on my phone, tablet, and laptop. He had access to all my accounts, including email and banking. He'd even placed a GPS tracker on my car. The most disturbing discovery was a detailed log of my daily activities going back almost 2 years. He had spreadsheets analyzing my phone calls, shopping habits, and social interactions. There were notes speculating about various suspicious patterns in my behavior, like getting coffee with female colleagues or calling my mother from the car instead of the house. The legal battle. James didn't go down quietly. He hired an aggressive lawyer who tried to paint me as unstable and paranoid. They claimed the surveillance was standard home security that I had agreed to. I hadn't, and that accessing his computer constituted theft of private property. The turning point came when Mike, James's former colleague, testified about the workplace surveillance incident. This established a pattern of behavior that predated our marriage. 3 other former employees came forward with similar stories, revealing a long history of privacy violations and technological abuse. The restraining order was made permanent. Criminal charges are pending related to illegal surveillance and cyberstalking. The divorce was finalized last week, with the judge citing extreme mental cruelty and awarding me a significant portion of our assets. The aftermath. The hardest part has been dealing with the emotional fallout. Learning that your entire private life was under surveillance changes you. I've moved to a new city and started a remote position with a supportive company. My new apartment has been swept for devices multiple times, a sad necessity in my new reality. Some relationships didn't survive this ordeal. James's family still believes I overreacted to normal protective behavior. Some mutual friends chose sides or simply disappeared, but others have shown incredible support, especially Amy, who moved cities with me to help me rebuild. The healing process is ongoing. My therapist helps me work through the trauma and hypervigilance. I'm learning to trust again, but it's a slow journey. Simple things like changing clothes or having a private phone conversation still trigger anxiety. I've started working with a domestic violence organization to develop resources about technological abuse and surveillance-based control. Many abuse counselors aren't equipped to deal with the technological aspects of modern domestic abuse, and I hope to help change that. To anyone else discovering hidden surveillance in their relationship, you're not crazy, you're not overreacting. Your privacy and autonomy matter. Get safe, gather evidence, and get out. Final thoughts. Someone asked in the comments of my original post if I still love James. The truth is, I'm not sure that person ever existed. The man I loved was a carefully constructed facade hiding someone who viewed me as an object to be monitored and controlled, rather than a partner to be trusted. I'm not the same person who wrote that first post 2 months ago. I'm stronger, wiser, and fiercely protective of my privacy. I'm learning to live with the knowledge that someone I trusted completely violated that trust in the most intimate ways possible. But I'm also learning that it's possible to rebuild, to trust again, and to find happiness on my own terms. Thank you, Reddit, for being part of my journey to freedom. Teledayar. Discovered husband's extensive surveillance system, left him, weathered his harassment campaign, got divorced, moved cities, and am rebuilding my life while helping others recognize technological abuse. Edit 2. Thank you for all the awards and support. To those asking, yes, I'm safe. No, I won't share specific details about my new location or security measures. And please stop DMing me about selling my story for a true crime podcast. Edit 3. For those asking about legal resources or support for technological abuse, I've compiled a list of organizations and will share it in a separate post once approved by mods. Edit 4. Locked due to excessive harassment in DMs. Thank you to everyone who offered genuine support and advice.